Imposter syndrome, according to Very Well Mind, it's an uncomfortable feeling that you experience when you think you're unqualified and incompetent. You might look around and assume everyone knows what they're doing except for you. If you achieve something good, you'll chalk up your accomplishments to good luck. You're listening to the Aligned and Magnetic podcast with Lauren Ashley, certified coach and mindset queen. Hi, loves. Welcome back to the Aligned and Magnetic podcast. Today, we're recording in our house swap living room. And when I say we, I mean me. I'm here by myself with my doggy Tishba. I wanted to change it up a little bit today. This is actually, I think, the only solo cast that I'm going to be doing from this apartment. We are leaving in like a couple weeks. And I mean, I don't know, let's see if we film another episode before we go, but I actually pre-recorded a bunch of episodes when I was still living in Mexico so that, the launch of, I always like to pre-do things so the launch of season 2 wouldn't be so crazy and like last minute like I was doing it last year. So that's a little update on my end. In a couple weeks, we are actually going to be moving. Actually, by the time this episode airs, we will already be in Welland. If not Welland, we might actually be back in Montreal. But we're essentially, since when is that a word? Essentially just taking about 45 days to just go and hang out at my dad's place because we are signing a lease in Montreal for a year, but not until April 15th. So we needed somewhere to go in between. And we were like, okay, well, we could rent an Airbnb for like $3,000 or like a really crappy Airbnb for like $1,500, or we could just go kick it with my family for a while and then come back. So that's what we're doing. Okay, so today I want to talk about imposter syndrome and what to do when you feel like a fraud in your industry. So first of all, I just want to preface by saying this is a really common feeling. I've had so many conversations with my clients about imposter syndrome. I've gone through imposter syndrome myself, and I just want you to know that this is a normal part of entrepreneurship, especially when you're just getting started. Now, I want to kind of help you through this. Of course, that's the whole purpose of this episode. So we're going to talk a little bit more about how I conceptualize imposter syndrome and how I've kind of been able to categorize it into 2 problems that we can solve depending on which category we fit into. I'm going to get into more of that in just a second, but let's start by identifying what is imposter syndrome. So imposter syndrome, according to Very Well Mind, I just pulled it up on Google. It's an uncomfortable feeling that you experience when you think you're unqualified and incompetent. You might look around and assume everyone knows what they're doing except for you. And if you achieve something good, you'll chalk up your accomplishments to good luck. So let's talk about this because I think that there are 2 very different kind of ways that we can fit into imposter syndrome and 2 very different reasons we feel imposter syndrome. And we're going to get down to like what reason it is and what you can do about it. Now, before even getting into that, let's highlight like why is it important to deal with imposter syndrome? People who feel imposter syndrome, at least in my experience in my business, are more likely to hold themselves back from really showing up, especially if you are heart-centered, especially if you care about helping other people. I know there are a lot of people in the business world who can fake it till they make it. They don't care about, other people as long as they reach success. I know that's not you. And that's why we are talking about this today. If it were you, you wouldn't be here. Now, because I am a firm believer that you deserve to be making money in a way that really lights you up, you deserve to get paid to do work that you absolutely love. We really need to get to the root of imposter syndrome and help you identify a solution so that you can move beyond this. Otherwise, you're probably just going to find yourself staying stuck in the same cycles over and over again and just hiding out. And you might experience moments where you're like out there and like, oh my God, I got this, I can do this. And then you kind of just rabbit hole yourself back in your cocoon and you're like, yeah, no, I don't got this. So let's talk about this. Let's get you through imposter syndrome. So Again, imposter syndrome is so common, especially when you're just starting your business. A lot of people don't know what the fuck they're doing. They're just trying to learn marketing, trying to learn how to run a proper business, trying to learn how to show up on social media and sell. It's normal. Let's just normalize the fact that everybody goes through imposter syndrome and you are not the only one going through this, okay? Now, some examples of imposter syndrome that I've seen are examples like business coaches struggling with business, relationship coaches struggling with their relationship, money coaches struggling with money, marketing coaches struggling with marketing, maybe even healers or astrologers that are struggling in their own personal life to make it through hard times, hard, challenging times. So if you're feeling imposter syndrome, you're going to probably fit into one of two categories. The first category is that you are claiming to be able to help somebody with a particular thing, but you actually have very little evidence for yourself or experience to back up these claims. So this is probably for newer entrepreneurs. And now what can tend to happen, and I'll go into this in a moment, but what can tend to happen is, we're looking outside of ourselves for solutions or for what other people are doing because we just, we have no idea how to run a business. So we are looking for examples of what to do and how we can do it, right? And so what can happen is we might accidentally use a title or use words or construct a program that we don't actually have enough evidence to say that we can help somebody with that thing. I'm going to dive into this in a little bit more detail in a second, but the second category is that you have the experience and the expertise, you have the training, but you find yourself in a place where you're struggling with the very thing that you actually help your clients with. Therefore, making you feel like a fraud, making you feel like, oh my God, is what I talk about even a real thing, right? Or am I just like making this whole thing up? So whatever category you find yourself in, I have a solution. So don't worry, take a deep breath. We're going to talk about it. The first category, remember, is the category that you're claiming to be able to help somebody with something, a specific end goal, a specific end result. Let's say maybe you help people to declutter and to organize their home, but your home is an absolute disaster. The problem with this category is that you have very little evidence to support your confidence. You don't have enough experience maybe in that area to say that you can confidently help people. Now, I know what this is like. I have been here when I was health coaching. I felt like I had to come up with some like actionable thing that I did to help people, but I didn't have any experience yet. So I'm going to give you a solution that you can actually work with because I would do it very differently now looking back. But I didn't know at the time that this is what I was, struggling with. And I ended up kind of just going in circles for a while. Hey, love, I hope you're enjoying this week's episode so far. I need to stop and let you know about the Awaken the Goddess Within free masterclass. This is honestly a masterclass that has helped me and has been so valuable and impactful in my clients' lives. So if you are somebody that knows that you have a greater vision, a greater impact to make, and you can see that you're maybe not showing up for that vision or you're doubting that vision, this is the masterclass for you. Basically, what we're going to be doing in this masterclass is talking about, and I'll be teaching how to reconnect with your inner goddess. I'm going to walk you through a really beautiful meditation to connect with the goddess within you. We're going to identify the limiting beliefs that are holding you back from taking aligned action and moving forward toward your vision. And number 3, we're going to talk about how to hack your brain to manifest the life and business that you desire. So if you are an entrepreneur or somebody who knows that they're here to have a greater impact in the world, whether it's through healing, coaching, whether it's even just through your everyday work, then Awaken the Goddess Within is the masterclass for you to step into the version of you who has the life and business that she desires with more ease and confidence. And the best part is it's less than 2 hours. Get the link below to register and you will get instant access to this masterclass. I am not kidding when I tell you I literally recently re-listened to it and it helped me. See you in there. The problem with this category here is that we live in a very fast-paced society. We live in a world where we want something now, we want it yesterday, and we want to get from A to Z like as fast as possible. And I think that a lot of people have actually disconnected from what it takes to really master something, what it takes to actually become very good at something, right? We expect a very high pay or amazing, like all the things without having to work to get there. And so there's definitely a balance to be had. We need to have the training, have the experience in order to feel confident in ourselves. Now, it's interesting because I also believe that we put a lot of our own blockages up when it comes to money. Like when we start asking for money for the thing that we're helping people with. And I mean, rightfully so, because you're a heart centered entrepreneur, because you care about other people. I know that you don't feel like you're in integrity when you just go out and start charging people, let's say $400 for a coaching session, when you don't feel like you are confident coaching, right? Now, that's why we have to work a little bit backwards here. If you are new in your industry and you are just trying to move through the business motions, if you've like purchased one of those businesses in a box where you're like, okay, I need to define my I help statement. I help people, blah, blah, blah. What I would encourage you to do is a little bit more, not necessarily market research, although you could do market research. What I would actually encourage you to do is get out in your field and get confidence, right? So what ended up happening for me is I was not really sure about the results that I gave to people for a really long time. And I was claiming like, hey, I can help you with this transformation. I didn't end up selling anything because I wasn't behind those results. I couldn't get behind the results. So what happens is when we don't believe that we can actually do something for somebody, when we don't believe that we can actually follow through on a result, we're actually going to end up energetically blocking ourselves from even making the sale, right? So in a sense, you're kind of like protecting yourself from like massively fucking up, but we don't want to hold you back forever. So let's actually work on this. Let's get you some confidence. Let's get you experience and testimonials that you can actually show people and be like, hey, this is what I do. Would you like to also do this? Or can I help you achieve the same or similar results in your life, business, whatever it is, right? I see a lot of people in particular moving into new industries with tools without having actually helped anybody with that thing. Do you know what I mean? So, like I said, if you want to move into a new field, if you want to move into a new industry, go out and actually test your skills, test what you have to offer, test your services, see for yourself what it is that you offer people, what it is that you provide, so that you actually have some evidence to back up your claims, and you're going to feel so much more confident in yourself. And when you go to explain what it is that you do to people, you're actually going to know exactly what it is that you do. Just to offer an analogy to put this into like concrete terms, I personally, if I were like to go to the hospital tomorrow and I needed a surgery, I wouldn't want someone who's fresh out of med school to perform that surgery without any supervision, right? There's a reason, and obviously we're not doing brain surgery, we're not doing major surgeries, but there is a reason that people need to go through a lot of training and experience before they're actually qualified, if you will, to do bigger things. And so this is especially true for the coaching and healing industry. We can't just go out there and be like, oh, I'm a coach. I don't know anything about how to coach. I've never coached anyone before. I don't have any training or any skills to back me up, and I haven't worked with any clients. I'm telling you this from my own experience. I feel like this is pretty much what I did because I wanted to help people, and I was told, well, the coaching industry is not regulated, so therefore go be a coach. But it was very much against in my integrity. And the reason that I did this is because I didn't trust in myself enough at that time. I wasn't connected to my own intuition and my values at that time. So at the time when I was just first starting my business, I was like, I'm just going to do whatever it takes to get out there. Okay, I have to get a little bit uncomfortable and call myself a coach, even though I don't feel confident as a coach. All right, let's do it. Let's see where it goes. It didn't get me anywhere. So the only way to build confidence is to practice and to get feedback on your practice, right? There's a reason that workplaces have performance evaluations. There's a reason that in professional industries, we get feedback, we get reports on how we're doing, right? And so we need to do the same with our clients. When you're running a business, there's a little bit more free reign. Nobody's on top of you being like, hey, did you like get a performance evaluation this week. So as the entrepreneur, as the person who is providing a service, as the coach, healer, service provider, nutritionist, like VA, whatever it is that you're doing, always ask for feedback and how you can do better. What did you do well and how can you do better? Again, if you are falling into category 1 and you feel an imposter syndrome feeling because you don't have enough experience, your task is to go out there and get experience, whether that's offering up one-on-one calls, whether it's offering a small package for free or a very low rate, whatever it is to get you confident in your skills and practicing, that is seriously going to help you to lift off once you have that experience. Now, the thing with heart-centered entrepreneurs like you and me is that typically what imposter syndrome is all about is more of a mindset and self-worth issue rather than a I'm not qualified issue. Let me elaborate. So a lot of my clients who are also heart-centered entrepreneurs come to me and we work on this program and this offering that they can do, right? But then they feel, they start to do that and it's like, okay, not seeing results yet because it takes time to see results in business. It takes time, it takes reflecting, it takes testing. And contrary to what you're seeing on the internet, it does not take 1 or 2 years to build a successful business. It can take so much longer than that. Once my clients start to see that they're not seeing the results that they thought they would get because of some misinformation that they read on the internet that, oh, I have this 6-figure business and I built it all in 1 month, then they start to think like, oh, maybe this is a me issue. Maybe I'm not qualified enough, right? So it's a self-worth issue that's manifesting into the way of like, I need more certifications, I need more credentials, I need more letters behind my name, I need more training. And the other thing too that happens is often we look at other people who are successful, and because we are not in a place of success yet, we think that we have to add whatever tool or skill other people seem to be using to our product suite or to our like services in order to be deemed worthy of having a successful business. So there's a lot of self-worth that's tied up in here. So this category is more for the people who are like, okay, I am, let's say, a relationship coach, but I'm struggling in my relationship. So how could I possibly help other people in their relationship, right? Or I'm a business coach, but my business is currently going through a hard time. How can I possibly be calling myself a business coach? Now, here's the thing that I want you to think about. Okay, just think about this. Think about a surgeon who needs surgery. A surgeon who needs surgery is probably not going to get surgery from themselves on themselves. They're going to go see another surgeon. Why? Because you can't perform surgery on yourself, right? A lawyer who is going through a divorce is probably going to hire a divorce lawyer, even though they're well versed in law, to help them through that challenging time. A therapist who has a ton of knowledge on how to help people, they're going through grief, let's say. They're probably going to go seek support in a help healing group or from another therapist. Why is that, right? Because we cannot possibly, first of all, do it all on our own, be perfect, and have all of the answers for ourselves. And not just that, I do believe we have all the answers for ourselves, but I also believe in support. I believe that we all need support. We can't possibly be expected to know everything and to be able to help ourselves through everything. I think this is a society problem that, living and growing up in Western culture, it's very individualized. It's very much about like me and I'll figure it out and I'll do it and I'll take on all the pressure. But the reality is that in order to succeed, we really need to be there for other people. We also need to get comfortable with asking for help. So what I really want you to take away from this category, if you're falling into the second category where you do have certifications, you do have training, it's just that your mindset is kind of making you feel not enough, or that you are not worthy, or that you need more than what you already have within. what I really want you to take away is that like you are allowed to struggle with business or with even the field that you are in. Like if you are in money mindset, for example, and you're struggling with money, like it is okay for human beings to go through challenges in life and still show up and still know that we can help other people, right? You can go through challenges in your business and still be able to help other people. The key here is really knowing for you, like if you can actually look at your business and see what's going on, like see what the problem is, then you are way ahead. And I think that that's what differentiates person one in category one versus person two in category two, right? Is that the person in category two is going to be able to look at what's happening and actually understand what's going on. They're not going to get swept up in like the, oh my God, like everything is an illusion and I have no idea how to fix this and blah, 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 blah. And there's a high chance that if you are struggling in the field that you are in, for example, when I went through my divorce, I massively started struggling in my business because I just could not show up to the level that I had been showing up, right? And I started to think that like, oh, maybe like I'm not meant for this. Maybe I don't know anything about business. But the reality was that like I was actually just going through a really hard time and I was really hard on myself because I wasn't able to sustain the level of results that I had previously achieved. And because the amount of time that I put in before, I was not able to show up for that amount of time during that period, right? And so we really need to be able to kind of step away from our situation and evaluate like, am I qualified? Do I have confidence? Not confidence. Do I have expertise? Do I have experience? Do I have testimonials? And really look at, okay, like what is causing me to feel this imposter syndrome, right? Is it that I'm just going through a challenging time? Can I give myself grace? Can I reach out for support? Or do I maybe need to relook at how I'm positioning myself in my business and what I'm claiming to help people with? Does that make sense? Now, I want to highlight the fact that it's very common in high achievers to feel like they have to be at the top before they actually see any sort of success, which is so backward, right? When you're building a business, you're